welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather.
I'm Levi.
And before we get into our Q&A tonight, I want to run through a few little housekeeping things. You are probably noticing this pretty mug in front of me. This is a special edition color that I ordered through, I forgot the name of the company, Sunset Hill Stoneware. This is the style of mug that we're going to be doing our pre-orders in, and it's not going to be until mid-February, but I wanted to let you guys know about it. This is the one that you guys have seen in videos past. It's a lot smaller. This is a good amount of coffee for us Americans, and the pre-order is going to run in this color. So this size and shape in this color sometime mid-February, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Also, I had a lot of people actually across a lot of my videos ask me where I got certain things, and so I decided I was going to open up an Amazon storefront that shows you some of the more commonly asked for items that are in my videos all in one place. You absolutely don't have to purchase them through Amazon. It's just a nice place to be able to list everything. If you do happen to purchase something through that link, we will get a little bit of a kickback at no extra cost to you. So thank you in advance. But also, when I set that up, there was quite a few people that asked me, okay, I see this list, but where's your personal wish list? So I created a personal wish list of things that would be really nice to have here on the farm. We have had a few people go on there and buy up all kinds of things for the homestead. We feel so blessed. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to leave links to these lists in the description box and in the pinned comment, so go ahead and check it out when you're ready. Also, if you're in the comment section quite often on our videos, you're going to notice people in the comment section that have a little colored hoof print next to their name. Those are members of our channel. Those people have joined our membership and they get a few extra perks throughout the month. We do live streams, they get early access to videos, we have our own Discord. It's really fun, our membership, so if you want to hear more about that, you can click the join button down below and get some more information. With that, I have 10 questions that I pulled from our recent Q&A question call. I had over 20 questions asked, and I did have to trim it down a little bit just so I can give the most thorough answers possible.
Is there anything you're excited to try again this year that either went really well for you in the past or completely failed in the past, but you have a new approach to it this year?
I do, and Levi hasn't heard this yet. I really want, he's heard this in the past, but not the fact that I really want to get into it this year. I really want to do the long Langstroth beekeeping. I want to beekeep in the longer hives. Right now we have our colonies in the standard Langstroth hives and all the boxes stack on top of each other. I've got issues with my arms. My shoulders have been bothering me recently. I haven't really talked about that on the channel. It's been very frustrating for me because I do a lot here with my hands and with my arms, and I feel like the type of beekeeping where you stack the boxes up real high just isn't going to suit me. I need something a little bit easier on my body, and the long hives are absolutely the solution to that. And so that's something that I really want to get into place before beekeeping season really gets off, which does start in March around here.
I need to get making.
You either have to make it or I've got to order it. So
It's really simple to make. Are there any new animals you plan on bringing to the farm this year? Like new rabbits, goats, or any other animals you may be planning to breed?
I do not plan to get breeding pairs of any other types of animals. Am I getting more animals that I will breed? Yes. I am currently on a wait list for an F4 mini Lamancha from Buck Creek Stables. He is going, I think his mom's due date is like February 8th, and then as soon as he's disbudded, he'll be coming here as a bottle baby. I will put the information for his dam and his sire on the screen here so you can kind of see what his lineage is. But he's going to be an F4, which is only a couple generations away from purebred when it comes to mini Lamancha. So he's going to be here for a long time, and he's going to do a lot of good for our farm.
No pigs.
No more pigs. I'll get feeder pigs, but we're not doing pigs this year. We just butchered 3 pigs in the fall time, and so we've got 3 pigs to get through. And then in springtime of 2025, we'll get some feeders that will process the fall of the same year.
What new things do you want to try this year?
Well, besides the long Langstroth, I've seen, and I don't know how possible it is with this any kind of standard pepper, but I've seen people grow peppers vertically, like really tall, inside greenhouses. They'll be like 12 foot high. peppers. And I tried to see if that was a specific type of pepper, and it doesn't look like it. It seems like it's all in the pruning. I would really like to figure that out. That's something new that I want to try. And besides the bees, I don't know if there's anything super new that I want to dip my toes into this year.
What keeps you motivated to homestead? What keeps you motivated to keep producing content on YouTube? All in all, what is your motivating factor?
This is such a good question, but it also has such a complicated answer. Levi and I were talking about this because I said, oh, Levi, we've got a really, really good question in the lineup. So I think, what keeps you motivated?
Before we moved here, we'd always lived in either apartments or neighborhoods, never with an opportunity to do anything like we have here. And honestly, the desire to not go back to that is a big motivating factor.
I'd say it's really improved our quality of life.
It's just more right for us.
I agree. To stop it, the idea of being forced out of the homesteading lifestyle, it gives me a lot of anxiety thinking about someone pulling me from it. Maybe there's a financial situation that could come up that would pull us away from it. I would have to be pulled away from this farm kicking and screaming because I just feel like personally this is so much of just who I am down to the core that a lot of me would be lost without it.
In Heather's and my conversation, we also talked about the difference between motivation and discipline and how motivation can be very fleeting. Like January 1st, everybody's motivated to go to the gym. January 3rd, half the population is motivated to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Discipline, though, is something that's more lasting, more long-term, and it's what gets you up and just keeps you going. And there's a certain level of discipline that's not really optional on a homestead. Like when it's cold outside, animals still need to drink and they still need to eat.
Jessica Soward says it a lot. She said this kind of weather, these kind of weather stresses, they'll really test your love of the thing. Like you'll really know if you're down for it, if you're willing to do the hard stuff and work through those hard things. As far as what motivates me to keep doing content, right now at this point, the channel has enough momentum on its own where I've said that it's self-propelled. It doesn't need me to push it anymore, which I am very grateful to be at this point. I know that at any given point when I post a video, 2,000 people are going to show up, at least. And that is incredible. That is so incredible. And it's a very relaxing type of feeling that's allowed me to make better content. And I don't know, it's just been really great overall. But in the past, what has motivated me to keep going with content when it wasn't so self-propelled was the fact that there really hasn't been a lot of good information out there on certain topics. But also, I have been very inspired through YouTube in my ventures. If it wasn't for Crystal at Blue Cactus Dairy Goats, Sandy Brock up in Canada with Sheepishly Me, and a few others, especially Jess with Roots and Refuge, I would not be half as successful as I am now. I would not be half as confident as I've been getting into a lot of these ventures. And I really want to be a part of that. And I want to be somebody's person that they turn to and say, you've inspired me to do X, Y, and Z. And I've had that. I've had people come into my inbox and let me know that I've made a big difference in their life in regards to something homestead related or otherwise. And so that's been a huge motivating factor, knowing that I am impacting someone else's life in the way that my life has been impacted by somebody else on YouTube. So,
what tops your list to improve sustainability on your homestead, whether long-term or for short-term instances?
I'd like to hear your answer to that. Do you have anything that you think we need to work on for sustainability?
We have talked about increasing our rainwater catchment, adding gutters to certain buildings, and putting the 275 gallon water tanks underneath to catch rainwater, at least one off the barn. The shed that we built about 1.5 years ago, that we kind of need to put gutters on anyway, but if we could put a rain collectment under that as well, it would be good.
I had thought about maybe wanting to put in a well, but if you read much into well water and goats, it's not always a good combination, and wells are really expensive. And so I feel like we get enough rain here where more rain barrels, they even have those really big, like fancy rain catchment things. We could graduate into that in the future, but I think that that's my answer too.
Yeah.
Is having more rain catchment, because the rainwater is a lot healthier for the goats. The issue with well water is that it can have really high mineral content, especially calcium, and you can have urinary calculi build up either from excess phosphorus or excess calcium, and usually when calcium is involved, water is the main culprit. And so I'd really like to avoid having to deal with that. I know that they make like hose ends that filter out stuff, but the rain catchment is simple. It's simpler in my head and a lot less expensive. So,
do you do it all yourself while I work? If so, how do you get it all done?
Does like it all? No, I don't do it all while hubby works. Our life, I know this is obvious, but our life is a lot bigger than what you see on YouTube. And a lot of what you see on YouTube, I am able to do because of what is done behind the scenes. So there's a good example. We were talking about the freeze earlier. Levi stayed home from work because the roads were treacherous. So there's a lot more that needs to be done hands-on outside every few hours when we're in a situation like that. So while I was outside taking a vlog and also dealing with the animals and their needs, Levi was inside. He did, I don't know how many loads of laundry.
All of them.
All of them. He did the dishes, and he homeschooled the kids that day. And I think that night we had leftovers for dinner. So that's a factor as well.
I cooked those in the microwave.
And Levi cooked them in the microwave. So there's a lot that is done behind the scenes that you just don't see because they're being done in a different part of the farm. But no, I don't do it all. There's a whole lot that I don't feel like could be done if I were to do it all on my own. Like all of it. Cooking, cleaning, schooling. I can't do all of that on my own. It takes two.
It does.
So yes, he does work, and I do things while he works, but he comes home and does stuff like every night. He comes home and I like check out of motherhood. I'm like, goodbye. He will do the kids' bedtime every night and organizing their showers and stuff, and yeah.
Is there any difference between the Lamancha or Nigerian dwarf when it comes to worm resistance?
This has been something that I've been trying to figure out for a few years, because I thought that my Lamanchas were harder to deal with on that front, on all aspects. But what I'm beginning to learn is that because Nigerians are so small, the minerals that they can take in and the minerals that we give, like copper, are a sufficient value for them. They need a lot less input to be at, peak levels for these minerals. Lamanchas are such a large goat. They can be 3 times or more larger than a Nigerian dwarf. And so their needs nutritionally are a lot more. And I don't think that I personally have been meeting those needs super well. For an example, twice a year I'll give a 4-gram copper bolus to every adult goat. I'll give the same copper bolus to a 60-pound Nigerian that I would give to a 160-pound Lamancha. That Lamancha is going to be deficient for sure. And I was speaking about this with a friend. There is a calculation, and I believe it's on the Thrifty Homesteader blog, and I'll put it in the description box. It's so many grams of copper per pounds of goat, and I think getting their minerals and things down is going to give the goat the support that it needs to be able to handle those kinds of worm loads, and I just haven't been doing it right for the last few years. This past year, my Lamanchas were a lot healthier than they had been in years past. Not because they're of them, but because of me. I was learning, and they just need more support as a larger animal. If you want to simplify it, I would say that Nigerians are easier just because they're smaller, so it's easier to meet those needs.
What are you most excited about producing mini Lamanchas? What are your plans for those, and will they end up being your main focus?
My mini Lamanchas are my main focus. I just need the standards and the Nigerians to make the minis happen, and I've only ever had one kidding that produced mini Lamanchas. And actually I didn't get to breed most of them this fall because they were all too small. So I did breed Breezy. She's huge. She's a monster. So we are going to have our own F2 mini Lamanchas born. First week in April is when she's due. She's the last one to kid here. I will never be just a full mini Lamancha herd though. I have friends who breed mini Lamanchas and they say that their mini Lamanchas are seasonal breeders. They will only go into heats in the fall and winter, and then they don't go into heats again until, you know, the next year. They don't go into heats all year round like a Nigerian dwarf does. And the reason that I like that is because I like to be in milk all year round. I like to breed for a fall kidding so I can have goats that are in their peak lactation when my other goats are taking their break for their pregnancy. I like that. I am entertaining the idea of putting a few goats onto extended lactations in order to make up for that winter milk, but I'll at least always have Nigerian dwarf bucks here because that's a major part to making a mini Lamancha. And really my goal is to get all the way up into F6 with mini Lamanchas, and that's going to take a really long time to not just get the number right for the purebred status, but to get a quality goat up that high. It's going to take years and years. So I'll have all 3 breeds on the farm, maybe forever, but at least for a really long time. The thing that I'm most excited about in producing this goat is what I want to achieve is a healthy homestead animal that is a nice milk producer. I'm trying to get the best of both worlds with the Lamancha and the Nigerian dwarf and get them into a nice goat that is more suited for a homesteader. I have show animals here. I've got some really nice quality genetics here, and that's part of that, but I'm not set out to try to win shows or anything. I really just want healthy homestead goats that are kind of used to being more managed as a homesteader would versus how a show home might manage.
How many baby goats are you keeping this season?
To be determined. And that's the thing, is I'm working on these lines, and in order to see what they're made of, I need to get them to freshen at least once, or have babies and develop their udder at least once. I may not keep does out of Elpis this year. She's one of my Lamanchas because I have 3 of her does from last year. I bred her back to Havoc again this year, so it's the same genetics coming out, unless something is just gorgeous. But I would really like to see how her triplets from last year develop and kind of select from them who I'd want to keep and have their genes move on in my mini Lamancha program before I just kept all the goats willy-nilly.
How do you find the time to homeschool 4 children? My only child will be starting school this year, and we chose to homeschool. But this will be our first experience with that. I admire the fact that you do all you do and also have your 4 littles. I only have 1, and adding the homeschooling is a bit scary, but I think that's what will be best for her.
There's a lot that's misunderstood about homeschooling. I assumed this in the very beginning, that you had to have the same number of hours that a public school is open. You do that at home, the same amount of time. And especially when you've got only 1 child, it's like literally impossible to fill up a 6 or 8 hour day educating them, and they're probably going to get burnt out.
Oh yeah.
So I guess it depends on how old the child is, honestly, and how much you really want to be doing with them every day. But especially younger kids, their attention span and their willingness to participate is going to be really short, and you don't want to take them to a point where they're dreading working with you and where you're both upset or whatever. So having little bursts of education throughout the day with any child is really beneficial, and we don't school for hours and hours a day. That's how we can manage it. I don't school for 5 days a week. I try to stick to about 4 days a week, and sometimes that's on Saturday or Sunday. Today, it was warm out for the first time in a really long time. My kids played outside. Today's Wednesday. I didn't do school because the kids wanted to play outside. Tomorrow, we're getting some more snow. It's going to be colder. I'll be doing school. And we can make up for Wednesday on Saturday when it's also single digits at night again. Yeah. So, and when I do the schooling, it usually only takes about an hour and a half to up to around 3 hours, depending on what we're doing, how invested the kids are, and all that, and if there's any kind of struggles that we need to work through. It doesn't take an entire day to do our regular school. Now, I only really focus on reading, writing, and arithmetic, the things that come up on like standardized tests, because that's really what counts. That's what your like SATs are made out of when you get further up. And the rest of it is absolutely important, but we consider that a little bit of fluff, and that happens kind of more throughout the day. So I will read to them usually while they're eating lunch. We might read a living history book, and that kind of breaks the ice and gets them ready for school. In the evenings after we have dinner, Levi will read a book.
Like, for example, we read through one book of the Bible, and then we read The Hobbit. When we finished The Hobbit, we read a different book of the Bible, and then we went back and read
something on their book list that was like set out for their ages.
There was, and what is that curriculum with the reading?
Ambleside Online.
And so, like, one of those books was the story of Louis Braille, essentially his young childhood and how he came to invent the Braille reading system for the blind. In that, not only was, they're getting read to, but they're learning about how blind people read, the history of it. Like, there's multiple facets to it. It's a very small book. It did not take long to get through, but there's more value than just reading in that. And some of the books, like I said, I read The Hobbit. That's fantasy. It's more fun. And then the books of the Bible, obviously, there's historical aspects to it. We just kind of try and not stick to a theme or genre when I'm reading after dinner. We try and kind of mix it up pretty well.
And it works out well. And then the kids have 30 minutes of reading before bed. So our youngest, he needs to be taught how to read. So usually I'm editing videos while Levi's teaching Shaika how to read. And that's how it works. So it's broken up. And it's not like we have to do school only certain hours of the day. We do pick up after dinner, and they do, goodness, it's at least an hour with you reading and them doing their book.
Yeah.
So it works out really well, and it can be so flexible. That is why homeschooling works so well with this kind of life, because not only do they live in this place where there's so many things happening that other kids do not get to see or experience, but we're able to adjust our schedule. Like, we don't have to take 2 weeks off for Christmas. We don't have to take a week off for Thanksgiving or whatever. We might need to take a week off during hunting season. So that's all of the questions that we selected to go over in the Q&A tonight. Everybody who asked a question on my Q&A question call, I am going to go back to those questions this week and answer any of the ones, with typing that I didn't answer with my voice here today. So don't worry, you're going to get your questions answered. I like to answer all the comments. I am starting to fall a little bit behind on answering comments. So a lot of people, you might just see a heart if it applies to your comment. The channel has grown a lot, and it's a good thing. So it's a good thing that I'm not able to keep up as well as I used to, but it's kind of sad too. Anywho, one thing that we will always do at the end of our Q&As is a little giveaway. Ooh. So tonight we're giving away one of our older mugs. This is used, but it's clean, and this is our older style. These were done through Teespring, and they're just kind of printed on. They're fine. They're just not this mug. Okay. So we need to make some space in our cabinet. So we're going to give away this combo if you like coffee. So this is a Beulah, I think it's a pound, 12 ounces of Beulah coffee. This is the coffee that Jess produces in South Carolina. She's with Roots and Refuge Farm. This is their Guatemala. It is ground. I am on their subscription service, and I get 2 bags a month, which is too much, but we feel like 1 bag a month would not be enough. So I do have an extra bag, and I like to give this combo away. But if you are not a coffee person, fear not. I have this sleepy time tea that I made here off of herbs that we grew on our farm, or that I foraged from across the street. Because there's rose in here, there's chamomile, it's lemon balm. I think there might be mint, but there might not be. I can't remember everything I put in here, but it's very good. So what you're gonna do is just comment down below, I like coffee, or I like tea, or something to that effect, and I am going to do a random comment generator through those comments. In a week, I'll go live and pick the winner. It doesn't matter where you live. I have shipped many things all over the world, so don't be afraid to enter if you're not in the United States. And you can either get the tea combo or the coffee combo. And if I can find my other mug, we do have 2 of these, I may just do 2 drawings. So, but that's contingent on me finding the other mug. I don't know where it is. Also, there's something I just wanted to show you because it's amazing. So, you know, we got these from Sunset Hill Stoneware. They also have these cute little bowls. This is an ice cream bowl that I bought for Levi for Christmas with our farm logo on it. It's called the Triple Scoop Ice Cream Bowl. This just may be a pre-order sometime this year too. Because you see coffee mugs all the time on different homesteading channels promoting their brand, but you almost never see little bowls. And I just think this is the coolest thing. You like it?
Yeah.
It's perfect size for your ice cream?
No.
It needs to be bigger. Well, this is the biggest.
It is a good bowl.
This is the biggest bowl they offer. And I think it's really cool, so.
Being limited is good.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for being here for another Q&A, and we'll see you guys again soon.